Yeah, you step in a pin cap, it flies. It's almost like you guys stepping on, like, ketchup packets. Not near like that. Anyway, so sorry about that. All right, so here they are. They're in this army. We've all been taken over. We are the city that's been captured by the Romans. We are enslaved. In many cases, we're stripped down to rags, if not even less than that. And they have chains, and we're like a chain gang, and they're marching us through the city of Rome. And there's the emperor up on the stage, and he's applauding. He's just standing there, and everyone's applauding. And there's the legions of soldiers marching us in what's called triumphal entry. We were once enslaved to sin. Now we're slaves to Jesus. We are his servants, his doulos, Greek word. It simply means his bond slave. While we are children of God, we're also the servants of Jesus Christ. And as those generals would go by, and those lieutenants, etc., they'd look at their emperor and they would salute. You've seen even more recent times, whether it's old black and white pictures, or even of the Civil War, or especially of World War II, they're coming through, and the ranks of soldiers are coming through and looking at. Guys, here's the deal. Here's my point. When you want to chuck Christianity, because tomorrow we're going to hear this big time. I'll tell you right now, 85% of you will chuck Christianity before you graduate. Unless you take God's word and live it out. But just given to normalcy, 85% of you, basically all of you, but these guys here, will chuck Christianity before they graduate from high school. Of the evangelical church view. Because they've given in to realize, I guess we don't win. Maybe Satan wins. So I better get what I can get on my bling, get on my stuff now. You see, I walk by faith, not by what? Sight. And walking by faith tells me that Jesus wins. Read Revelation, y'all. End of the day, Satan loses. We win. Because our general leads us in triumph. Guys, that should encourage you. When you feel like you're the only Christian guy on your football team, because you probably are the only Christian guy on your football team. Where's Spencer? Is he here? You go back to school. Go back to school. He was telling me about this, thinking he was saved all these years and just got saved this last year, 2 years ago. And guys in his school, he was telling me last night, guys in his school, all they played the Christian game just like him, but he wasn't truly and genuinely born again by the Spirit of God. Maybe you feel like you're the only Christian guy on your baseball team. You ladies maybe feel like you're the only Christian girl, like in your cosmetology class or whatever you do. And it's like you feel like you're all alone, especially the Christian in biology class. My 8th grader told me, we're getting evolution now, Dad. You know we're going to lose our toes? So say, well, yeah, my teacher said we'll lose our toes because we don't use them. We used to be able to wiggle our ears, but since we stopped wiggling our ears, then I go, this is based on science? Science teacher? But Christians, that's just a faith book. We're scientists, we know everything. Whatever. So you students understand, you go to public school, most of you raise your hands. You've gone through biology and you feel like, I'm a Christian, do I even say anything? Or just go, okay, it's evolution, whatever. And you're feeling alone, you feel like I'm a loser. Does this help you guys understand this? Paul is feeling like, I want you to know. He goes, you are on the winning side. Your seal, commanding officer, is Jesus the Christ. And he will present us to the Father someday. That's awesome. Third one. My identity is also in my sense of competency. This is the sense of when your coach looks at you and says, dude, I believe in you. I mentioned last night, there's 3 seconds left in the basketball game, 3 seconds left in the clock. Coach turns to you and says, you got the last shot. And you're either like, give me the rock, or you're like, I don't want it. Now in the day, there's this guy named Michael Jordan. He had this sidekick named Scottie Pippen. And I was living in the Chicagoland area during that great Bulls run. Being a Knicks fan, very sad times for us, and it's even worse now. But anyway, so here's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan retired to go play baseball for a while, and that year, Scottie Pippen was supposed to be the man on the Bulls. Jackson calls a timeout, turns to him. I watched this game. I could not believe what I saw. Some of you guys know which game I'm talking about. It was in the early 90s. And he turns to Pippen and he says, you got the ball. No, he didn't. He said, Paxton's taking the last shot. And Pippen got all, he's got a wad. He said, fine. And here's Mr. Captain on the team, because he wasn't getting the ball, pouts and sits down with 3, totally lets his team down. Okay? He wouldn't listen to his commanding officer because it was all about him. It wasn't about the Bulls, it wasn't about the team. But guys, this is the idea of a coach that believes in you and says, you have competency, it's your parents. Some of you, I'm just being dead honest, some of you are like, I would just do anything to have my dad say I'm proud of you. Don't mean to rip open a Band-Aid here, but it's true. Some of us just long to hear our mom or dad say, I'm so proud of you. And we always say the next word. If you do get it, you go, why? Come on, we still, as adults, we still do that. Why? Because you want to hear because something specific. Okay? All that said, my competency does not come in the fact that I'm a speaker. Because sometimes I'm a good speaker and sometimes I'm a bad speaker. My competency doesn't come that I'm a prof. Am I a good prof or bad prof? My competency doesn't come, am I a good dad or bad dad? My competency, who believes in me, comes from, you see that verse? My competency does not come from myself. It's not self-esteem. You see this now? Look at that. It says my competency comes from the one who's in me, from God. He made us. He made us competent. Oh, you guys, this is so free to know that even if I screw up, my competency comes not from me or not from my performance. It comes from the one who made me and who lives in me. That's my competency. Competency comes from God. Now the next one, if you follow Christian music, you kind of recognize this first. Let's see the next one. My sense of value, my source of value. And then in chapter 4, verses 5 through 7, we do not preach ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and He's the boss. We don't preach ourselves, preach Jesus Christ as Lord. And ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake, for God who made us, or who said, let light shine out of darkness, made His light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. Look at verse 7. But we have this treasure in jars of clay. I never heard that band's name before. That's where they got this. The name of their band came from this verse. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God. Now, in the day, you wouldn't put your money in banks, and probably right now you may not want to, never mind. But back in the day, you wouldn't put your money in banks in the day of the Greeks and Romans because they didn't have the bank system like we do. You would hide your goodies in your house, but you wouldn't hide your goodies in your house in a really important vase because anybody's busting in, I'm going to go, how